Just gonna hug me before I start. I love you.
I love you too.
You've gotten so big since the last video you were in. Hey friends, I'm back. It has been a very long time. I think it's been about 3 years or more since my last video, and a lot has happened. I hadn't posted for all that time because I was so sick. There were periods of time when I had some respite, but they always came back to the baseline of just being on death's doorstep. And most recently, about May and June of this last year, 2023, I was ready to go on hospice. I had already talked with my palliative care team about discontinuing the TPN, which was the only thing keeping me alive. At that point, every feeding tube had failed. I was not able to eat orally. I was on oxygen. And every system of my body was failing. I couldn't go to the bathroom on my own. I had to catheterize. My bladder stopped working. I had severe myoclonus. I was diagnosed with hypokalemic periodic paralysis, and I would have regular full paralysis episodes, and then in between, such severe muscle weakness that I had to use a wheelchair or forearm crutches just to walk across my yard. And then in the house, I was always having to hold on to countertops or chairs or walls just to move around my house. The pain was agonizing. It was 24/7. Near the end, I started getting such severe nausea that I couldn't be upright at all. The only relief I would get is if I was laying down on my side. I couldn't even lay on my back. And I was bedbound at that point. My family would be outside in the yard and I could see them through the window, and I could not even be out there with them, not even sitting up in my wheelchair. And so my quality of life became worse and worse and worse. I kept having inflammation and reactions from the TPN. They tried changing the formula. They tried switching out the vitamins, removing different things, and it never made any difference. I continued to have swelling. I would gain 6 to 13 pounds over the matter of just a couple of days, and then I would lose it again. So I was constantly just blowing up, and it was just awful. And then every inch of my body felt like I had been beaten. It felt like my whole body was bruised. Anywhere you touched, you couldn't even, the lightest stroking of my skin was just agony. And on and on and on. The myoclonus would go for eight days straight. At one point, it went for 8 days straight, and it was just absolutely, about every 3 seconds, my whole body would jerk. It was like a hiccup, basically, in my entire body, my arms, my legs, my back. I started having dystonias where a whole group of, a large muscle group would tighten up and just pull me one way or the other way, twist my head, and that, I couldn't be up and around. I couldn't be functional with that. It was, just trying to remember everything is impossible because it was so much more than that and so much worse than I can even describe here. And so I reached a point where the TPN was the only thing keeping me alive, and I told my palliative care team, I'm ready to go home. And I wrote goodbye letters to my children. I told my husband, I'm dying. My husband was prepared to be a single dad. I told my best friend I wasn't going to be here. I posted on Facebook. Everyone knew that I was going to have that conversation with my palliative care team. I was spiritually, emotionally, mentally preparing myself for heaven, for leaving this earth and for moving to my new home. And it was bittersweet. Of course, I didn't want to leave my family. Of course, I didn't want to leave my husband and my friends. But at the same time, I so longed to be with my Savior. I so longed to see him and to know him fully, and to feel that I was so close to that moment is surreal. And unless you've been there where you have let go of the world, nothing on this earth mattered to me. I had already mentally and emotionally and spiritually distanced myself from this earth and the cares of this world, and was thinking eternally. And that, my friends, is the greatest gift I've ever received. Even though God, it wasn't his time to take me yet, he gave me that gift. And the gift of being face to face with death, face to face with your maker, your judge, your king, your lover, your savior, is indescribably beautiful for the Christian. And so it was a time where I was dealing with grief and at the same time unspeakably happy. And so, to make a long story short, Jesus did bring me back from the brink of death and gave me a brand new life. And that is literally what happened. I have a brand new life because I'm now healthier than I was ever in my life. Ever. I've had issues my entire life, even when I was a child. And now I am healthier, I am stronger, I am able to do things that I've never done in my life. I'm able to do things with my family, with my kids, that I've never, ever been able to do. And so this video that I'm about to share is me telling my story in very small part to my holistic MCAS histamine intolerance practitioner. She is out of Australia, and I'll put her information in the description so that you can work with her if you'd like. I am not compensated for this. My reason for sharing is obvious. I got my life back. She literally saved my life. Jesus saved my life through her. And I can't stop talking about it, and I won't stop talking about it. So my friends and my family may get sick and tired of hearing me, but I will never stop because Jesus did an amazing thing in my life, and I want my friends and my acquaintances who are struggling with Ehlers Danlos, with hypokalemic periodic paralysis, with bladder sphincter dyssynergia, with neurogenic bladder, with MCAS in your stomach, MCAS systemically in every area of your body. I want you to have hope. Two doctors, two of my practitioners said, we believe that MCAS is at the root of your issues. And my primary care physician, a DO, was willing to think outside the box and not put me through the ringer, because at that point I was already almost dead. He did not put me through the ringer of all these tests to diagnose MCAS. He said, we're starting you on the medication. They started me on cromolyn and some antihistamines, H1 and H2 blockers. Within about 6 weeks, I started having the slightest bit of improvement in primarily my stomach pain if I tried to eat something, which was horrific, agonizing. I couldn't swallow a sip of water. And so I started seeing just a hint of improvement from that. And so that gave me enough hope that this could possibly be the cause of at least my stomach pain to go ahead and try treating it. And of course I wanted to try treating it naturally first. So after, I didn't want to stay on those drugs forever. Those drugs were more of a diagnostic tool, not a treatment. So I found Luann Hopkinson. She's Happy Without Histamine on Instagram, and her website is also Happy Without Histamine. And again, her details are in the description. I found her and I began working with her the beginning of July. By the end of July, almost all of my symptoms were 95% better. That's including my POTS. Oh, I forgot my POTS. My POTS is gone. My port, which I've had for, I still have it, but next week it will be gone. I've had it for 2.5 years. I've given myself a liter of LR every single day for almost all of that time, in addition to the TPN. So I was getting liters of fluid just to keep my blood pressure in the normal range and my heart rate below 190. That is ever since about the first week of June into the program, about a week into the program, I was no longer needing my IV fluids. I stopped my TPN. I was able to slowly start eating orally. Now, of course, I eat orally. And so this is coming out. This is being taken out on Monday. So it's just incredible. Everything, every symptom, week after week after week, another symptom would just drop off and go away. I haven't had myoclonus. My muscle strength is amazing. I'm actually working out. I'm going to the gym with my husband and doing some strength training. I've taken my kids to the pool. I've gone to Costco with the kids by myself. I've taken them to a museum for the entire day. We've gone to parks. I run. I haven't run in so many years, you guys. I can run now. I can jump. I can do exercises. I can be on my feet all day cooking and cleaning and homeschooling and grocery shopping. Like I said, I got my life back. So I won't go on any longer. I'll just let you watch the video. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And I apologize for going so long without posting a video, but seriously, I was too sick to even sit up at the computer and edit. And honestly, I just didn't really care. My mind was not here. It didn't really matter to me. And now it matters because God gave me more time for a reason, and He wants me to share my story. And so that's what I'm doing. Enjoy the video.
So, Angie, thanks for being here today. You've just recently completed the Happy Without Histamine Method program with me, and it's been so lovely to see your results. I think they blew me away. So what we'll do first is we'll just start with, if you could let everyone know before you started and when you joined up, where were you at with your symptoms and with your mindset and everything that made you think there's something else I need to do here?
Yeah, well, I would say I pretty much just had given up at that point. I had been sick for many years. I had tried multiple things, even lots of natural and holistic things, and just kept getting sicker and sicker to the point where before I came to you, I was 100% fed via TPN through a port. I was on oxygen. I was bedbound, wheelchair bound. I couldn't stand. I mean, I could just barely hobble to the bathroom, and that was it. I've had 11 surgeries. Some things were better after that, but it never ultimately fixed me. And I was ready to give up. I had already talked with my palliative care team about stopping the TPN, which was the only thing keeping me alive, and just dying. Because the two paths that I could see for myself were either I stop the TPN and I die fairly quickly, or I keep receiving the TPN and I just continue getting weaker and weaker as I'm bedbound, and pretty soon I'm just completely wasted away. And then it's a long, agonizing death, which ultimately I saw death as the result in the not too distant future, because I was reacting to the TPN as well. It wasn't without its own adverse effects. So I had already written goodbye letters to my kids. I had given my husband all of the passwords for different things on the computer that he would have to follow up with. And I reached out to one last doctor who I flew to Kansas City to see. And he said, I believe that a large component, if not the root cause of what's going on with you, is MCAS. And so I went back home. I talked with my PCP, who had tried me on cromolyn and a couple of antihistamines. And I noticed that after a little while, some of my symptoms started to get better. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe it is MCAS. I never had a diagnosis. They never did any testing. And so I just started researching and reading. I bought Dr. Afrin's book on MCAS, what is the title of that? Never Bet Against
Occam. Yeah, it's a very dense book.
Yes, it is. And I read the whole thing. And then I started researching online, because I've always wanted to do things holistically. I did not want to just take antihistamines and cromolyn for the rest of my life. I wanted to address the root cause. So I found a couple of different MCAS histamine intolerance programs, and one of them had a really long wait list. There was no way I could wait that long to get in, and you had an opening right away. So I had the discovery call with you. I watched your webinar first, and that was really my only chance. It was the only thing left to me that might possibly help. I didn't have high hopes at the beginning, but I thought, this is one last thing. Let's just give it a try.
And you have been given various kind of labels, diagnoses as well prior, hadn't you?
Yes, I was diagnosed with Ehlers Danlos syndrome, the hypermobile type. I did have MALS, median arcuate ligament syndrome, that they were able to correct surgically. I'd had a total hip replacement. I had a diagnosis of hypokalemic periodic paralysis, which was debilitating. I had POTS, horrible POTS. My heart rate would regularly be above 180 just standing. I was on IV fluids every single day, a liter of IV fluids in addition to my TPN. I had bladder problems, severe bladder problems. I had to cath every single time I needed to use the bathroom. They never really knew for sure what the cause was of that, but I thought that I had constant UTIs. And it turned out later on that I found out, no, that was actually histamine MCAS in my bladder. I did get some severe UTIs, probably just because I was cathing. So you do risk introducing bacteria. So yeah, that's a few of them. There's probably more that I'm not remembering right now, but it was a whole collection.
Yeah, you had a whole collection. And you know, when you started with me, you had just started to get off the TPN. Just so people understand, total parenteral nutrition, which is being tube fed, is not my speciality. But the fact that you had been able to start to eat some food meant that it was the perfect time to start working with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so by the time you finished the program then, which was 16 weeks or so later, what tangible changes did you experience?
I would say, first of all, not just by the end of the program, but by the end of the first month, it was so fast. It was faster than I ever imagined. By the end of the first week of doing the diet and the nervous system work, I already saw dramatic decreases in a lot of my symptoms. I was able to stop my IV fluids. My heart wasn't going crazy anymore. My blood pressure was no longer 70/40. It was holding its own without the fluids, and it hadn't done that for decades. And then by the end of the first month, I was eating, well, by the end of the first week, I was eating everything orally. I wasn't on TPN at all. I was able to eat. I wasn't getting in a lot of nutrition, but I was getting in some. And then with each week, I was able to get in more and more. And then by the end of the first month, I told people, I said, there's no going back. I know that I am healing. And before that, I believed that my conditions were incurable and that it would be a death sentence. By the end of the program, I have 100% function back. I am taking my kids to the museum. I'm going grocery shopping by myself. I'm driving. I hadn't driven forever. I'm on my feet almost all day, cooking and cleaning and homeschooling the kids and gardening and everything. Like, I feel 100% normal.
Yeah. So you don't have, you said your labs were perfect when you had your last checkup. So you didn't have anemia. You know, you didn't have any other issues like that, which is amazing. And you said you just went and recorded a song, which is something that was one of your dreams, to go and be able to go back and do that again. And you just, it's been amazing how well you've done, and, you know, in such a short period of time. So we did your symptom questionnaires at the start. We always ask people to tick a whole bunch of boxes showing us what their symptoms were like. And at the start, yours was 157. And at the end, it was 16. So that's just such a dramatic improvement. 16 is the occasional thing that pops up very rarely.
Yep.
So, you know, that's insane. And your digestive total went from 95 down to only 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just amazing. You know, you have also said that you now have good sleep, good energy, and you're feeling better in yourself as well, calmer.
Yes.
Yeah. So were there any other benefits to the program you didn't expect?
I would say everything. Everything was a bonus. The only reason that I joined was because what was actively killing me were the digestive symptoms, because I couldn't eat. My stomach pain was so horrific, I couldn't even get a bite of food in or even a sip of water. And so I thought, if this helps me be able to eat, then I can stop the TPN, which was causing all kinds of problems of its own. So that was my only expectation going into the program, was that I would be able to eat, my stomach pain would be better. Everything else, I had no idea that I would experience my POTS going away. My voice, the histamine affected my voice. I wasn't even able to speak with clarity and strength. My voice came back. I can sing again. My muscle strength, my hypokalemic periodic paralysis, which is a genetic condition. I was diagnosed with a compound muscle action potential, EMG. It was diagnosed by specialists, a muscular dystrophy specialist at a university hospital. It's gone. And what's really interesting is the couple weeks ago, I had a nervous system trigger, an emotional stress, and it was quite a significant emotional stress. And my myoclonus came back for about 10, 15 minutes, and my muscle paralysis started to happen. And by the time I was able to regulate my nervous system again, those symptoms were gone. So that was proof to me that it is absolutely related to my nervous system, because nothing else happened. I didn't eat something wrong. I wasn't exposed to mold. It was purely nervous system.
Wow, that's really, really good. And if you hadn't started the program and started working with me when you did, what do you think would have happened? Where do you think you'd be now?
I would have been dead for at least 3 months at this point. Yeah, my kids would not have a mother. My husband was already prepared to be a single dad. Absolutely, I would be dead.
And so how likely are you to recommend this program then to other people who think that they may have mast cell activation syndrome issues or histamine issues or other chronic illness problems?
Yeah. Well, considering that after about 2 weeks in the program, I was already telling all my friends about it, probably 100%. I do have a friend who has lupus. I have other friends with EDS, and I'm just telling them, you have to do this program. You have to do this program. I know it will help.
And how would you describe your outcome from the course to somebody else who's thinking of getting help?
I would say it's life-changing. I mean, it literally saved my life. It gave me back so much additional quality of life that I never expected. I literally feel like I'm starting over again. I feel better than I did now than when I was 20, maybe ever, because I've had symptoms my whole life. And so only now I feel like the door to the world has opened, and I'm actually able to go out and go shopping on my own and go to the mall and go, do things with my family. I've been hiking, I've been swimming. It's like a brand new life.
That's wonderful. So good to hear. And I love that little quote that you said to me before. You said, now it feels like my brain's not in control, but I'm in control.
And it's kind of funny because your brain really is in control. If you didn't have your brain, nothing would function, right? But at the same time, before, my nervous system was out of control, and I could not regulate what my brain was telling my body to do. And my brain was in this state of fight, flight, or freeze for so long that my body systems were malfunctioning and shutting down. And now I feel like I can tell my brain, no, that's not right. That's not productive. Let's do this other thing. And it listens and it responds. And it's just amazing.
Yeah. And that's the secret sauce of this program, is combining that nervous system work as well as the diet and the supplements and the lab tests and all of those things, because it's not just one thing. It's the combination of everything together that makes the difference, I think.
And that's why I didn't have success for decades when I did very, very healthy diets. I had chiropractic, I had acupuncture, I had every kind of alternative and natural approach possible. And I would get a little better. I'd have a little symptom relief, but ultimately it never was the answer because no one was addressing the nervous system. And so my message to anyone watching this video is don't just do the low histamine diet, because then all you're doing is restricting the food you can eat for the rest of your life. You have to do the nervous system too, so that then when that's healed, you can go back to eating a diverse diet.
Yeah. And we did a little bit of gut work and a little bit of other things as well. But it's about knowing that there's no one thing that does it. It's about bringing everything together. And you were beforehand, you had the perfect diet, you'd done all the things right. But that's the difficulty. Sometimes we're doing all the things right, but it's just that thing we haven't heard about yet.
Yep.
It's like, as soon as you find out about it, then it's like, now it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, if there's one last thing you'd like to say to people before we go, what would that be?
I would just say, hearing my 5-year-old daughter say when I'm tucking her into bed, she's saying her prayers and she says, Jesus, thank you for giving me my mommy back. And like, I don't care if your program was 10 times the cost, 10 times as long, 10 times as hard. To hear that is worth everything.
That's so lovely. I'm really thankful for you because seeing your kind of results keeps me going, and it makes me really, really happy to be able to help people. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I owe you my life.
Oh, thanks. You're going to make me cry. It just, for me, just, yeah, knowing that I've made such a difference for somebody, it just, yeah, it keeps me going. And that was my mission when I was bedbound and housebound and unwell, and I just was like, when I get better, and I knew I was going to get better, I'm gonna get back. And yeah, it makes me feel so thrilled, so moved to see your results.
Well, I hope this is the motivation for other people to just do it, to take the plunge and just stop waiting. Stop letting life pass you by. Stop letting your kids grow up not being able to take them to the park. Just do it.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for your message, Angie.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope that was encouraging to you. I hope that it gave you hope and that you check out Luann. And if she isn't a good fit for you, find another holistic MCAS practitioner. There are others. Another website I looked into was Mast Cell 360. I'll also put that in the description. She has a little bit of a longer wait before you can get in, and she's a little more expensive, but she's also very good. I chose to go with Luann because in her Facebook group, the overall impression that I got was, this is a group full of optimism. This is a group full of hope. This isn't a group full of people complaining and whining about the limited foods that they can eat and how hard this is and blah, 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 which the other group was. And that was what I needed. I needed a place of hope, of optimism, of excitement. And just to let you know, I am now no longer on a strict low histamine diet. I try to avoid the highest histamine foods, but occasionally I have them. Like, I've had a glass of wine, I've had Parmesan cheese, I've had chocolate. But in the beginning, I was very strict and I did do the diet, but it doesn't last long before you're able to calm down those mast cells. And then when you're simultaneously working on gut health, which she approaches it from a multi-pronged approach. She does gut health, she does diet, she does nervous system work, she does a supplement protocol. And with all of those combined, the goal is to get you back to a good, diverse diet. The goal is not for you to stay on this limited diet for the rest of your life. That's not what it's about. It's really about giving you your life back. And the number one thing that has made the biggest difference for me is the nervous system part of the diet, of the program. And it is amazing how much your brain and your nervous system affects your physical function. And thankfully, this is becoming more well known. And there are a lot of doctors who are speaking out about this. And it's true. If you are stuck in sympathetic mode, your organ systems are not going to function normally. You have to have a well-regulated nervous system, and mine was not. Mine had been dysregulated probably from childhood. I had a very difficult childhood, and then I had multiple surgeries. I had multiple traumas within the medical system year after year after year. I've had traumas with churches, religious trauma, religious abuse, lots of things like that that have completely wrecked my nervous system. And so being able to heal from those things and learn how to be in control of my nervous system rather than my nervous system being in control of my body and dictating how my heart beats and how my digestion works and everything else. I am now able to say, wait a minute, this symptom is caused by a maladaptive stress response and cross-wiring in my brain, and I choose to change my brain. And I have worked so hard on healing my nervous system. And neuroplasticity is a thing. No matter how old you are, and I'm 40 years old, you can change your brain. And so one of the things that comes in the program is a very simple step-by-step way to change your brain. And at the end of this little procedure, you say, I choose to change my brain. And so guys, I encourage you, choose to change your brain, look into nervous system healing, look into this program, and don't wait. Don't wait to be on death's doorstep to do this. If you don't have the quality of life that you want right now, just do it. Even if you don't have full-blown histamine symptoms, if you don't even know that histamine is a problem for you, do it anyway, because chances are you have, like most Americans, a dysregulated nervous system, and this is going to help you whether you have lupus, whether you have arthritis, whether you have digestive issues. It helps so much. So check her out. Praise the Lord with me for my healing and for God giving me back to my family. My daughter, the one who was just here, I was tucking her in bed the other night and she said to me, or she didn't, she said to God, she was praying and she said, Jesus, thank you for giving me my mommy back. That's it. That's it. He gave my kids their mommy back. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.